I cannot believe that we're having this conversation today. 3 weeks ago, guys, I think everyone was thinking 3 weeks into the season, we're going to be talking about a 3-0 Broncos team, a 2-1 Broncos team, God forbid, a 1-2 Broncos team. And here we are talking about if Broncos-Bears is the battle of the two worst teams in the NFL. I can't believe it, and I'm excited to have this conversation with Henry Chisholm, Super Bowl 50 champ Todd Davis, and Zach Stevens. So, just simply ask you right up front, is this the battle of the two worst teams in the NFL?
Yes. I would say yes. I mean, I feel like that's an easy answer. If you dive into it, you talk about an offense that can't get going with Justin Fields. They're struggling. They look comical at times. And then you talk about a defense on the Broncos side that has their same kind of comedic laughter to their performances at times. I think it is a battle of at least the worst offense and the worst defense right now in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, comical is such a good word to use for this game, Todd.
It's pretty crazy. But, I mean, yeah, like, I don't know the argument against it. Like, the Bears have lost 13 in a row. They're a train wreck, like, on and off the field. And the Broncos just gave up 70 points and lost by 50, and they've lost 3 games. Like, as much as I'd like to say, well, you know, Russ is playing, like, pretty good. Like, at least they have a quarterback. Like, you can't be the worst if you have, like, a decent quarterback. Like, no. These are the two worst teams, and I don't know how you argue against that.
Yeah, and I think the important thing for this conversation is, are these the two worst teams in the NFL right now? We're not saying that the Broncos and Bears are going to finish with the 2 worst records in the NFL or have the least amount of talent, but right now, on Sunday, when they line up, you can't make an argument against it, really. Yeah. The Broncos just lost by 50. That makes the Bears' 31-point loss that they just had this Sunday seem like, oh, not that bad. A 31-point loss in the NFL?
Yeah.
Todd, how awful is that?
It's terrible. And this is a league that's what have you done for me lately? Yeah. And the last week that both the teams have were losing by a combined points of 81 points. It's terrible.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It sucks that we're going through this again, like the 0-3. I feel bad for Todd. Because, like, Zach, you've done this, like, 6 times now. Yeah. Where, like, here we are again. Yep. For me, this is at least my 2nd time. I know, like, Todd, you've been paying attention, like, the last few years. But to come on and talk about it, like, you're the one I feel worse for right now.
I think the more it happens, the more I'm just like, well, here we are to talk about. You know, I always hope for the best, but then, you know, we get let down. And then finally, I just, like, you get to the effort stage and like, let's do it. Let's talk about it.
It's so true. And Todd, you mentioned how the Broncos defense is awful going up against an awful Bears offense. Both the worst in the NFL. The Bears offense is the worst in the NFL. Broncos defense is the worst in the NFL. But the Bears defense over the past 2 years is by far the worst defense in the NFL. So you pair the worst defense in the NFL over the past 2 years with the worst offense in the NFL right now, with the worst defense in the NFL this year, you have like 3 of the worst units in the NFL going up against in this game. Thankfully for the Broncos offense, it's not the 4 worst units in the NFL. And who would have thought that a year ago with everything that was going wrong with the Broncos offense, that we'd be saying, oh man, thanks for the Broncos offense for making this not like unbelievably awful and comical in every single way. But when we talk about the worst teams in the NFL, it's easy to see how bad the Broncos are, see how bad the Bears are. There's 2 more 0-3 teams going into this weekend. And crazy enough, they play each other this weekend. The Panthers are 0-3. They're playing the 0-3 Vikings. And let's just look at these 4 teams. And let's actually rank these 4 teams in terms of how do the 0-3 teams stack up against each other? Do we want to go best to worst or worst to best?
Let's go best to worst.
Yeah. So the best 0-3 team, I think it's easy. I think it's very obvious who it is.
Yes, the Minnesota Vikings.
Without a doubt. Your other team, Todd.
Who's the other one? Who's the 4th?
Panthers.
Yeah. It's got to be the Vikings. Because their thing is, like, they've been, like, close in every game for, like, 13 straight months now. And it just happens to be that, like, they're my girlfriend's a Vikings fan, so she was just saying like, yeah, all the numbers say they're the least lucky team in the NFL. And it's like, well, I mean, come on, you can't complain after last year when you were the luckiest team in the NFL.
Right.
So yeah, like it's a little bit fluky at their 0-3. Not a great team, but
yeah, no, I completely agree. And also, I mean, Russell Wilson is playing better than the 0-3 record that the Broncos have right now. There's no doubt about it. He's on pace for 34 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. That part's not ideal. And like right around 4,000 passing yards. He's not the problem, like we've talked about. Kirk Cousins is on pace for over 6,000 passing yards, over 50 touchdowns, and only 11 interceptions. Like, you just look at that and you're like, okay, yeah, if you have a quarterback playing that well, it's hard for you to be the worst team in the NFL. So Vikings, easy number one. Now I think there is a conversation.
They have the passing yards leader, receiving yards leader, and sacks leader. And they're 0-3.
Wow.
That's
Who's the sack
crazy.
leader?
It's Daniil Hunter, I think.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think it's him right now. Yeah.
That is why, especially playing in close games where it's not like they've been up all the time either.
Yeah.
Wow. And then obviously Justin Jefferson, arguably the best player in the NFL.
Baller.
Yeah.
Baller.
So number two, is it the Panthers or is it the Broncos?
I think the Broncos offense might actually give them a little push up to number two. Just overall, Panthers are struggling on the offense. I think the Broncos are doing a better job. They're playing better defense than we are, but with our talent at quarterback, I would say that we probably are the third worst team in the league, not the second. So maybe I'll put the Broncos there, but what do you guys think? I think it's the team.
I don't hate it. I think it's close. I come at this from like, if you're just like
really?
an average team.
Really quick, I'll go Panthers.
Oh,
so
okay,
you
cool.
have to be the tiebreaker.
Okay.
Oh, okay, cool. Like, if you are the Patriots, let's say, who would you rather play this week? Would you rather play the Panthers or the Broncos? And I think that, like, 2 weeks from now, you probably say, like, yeah, I'd rather play the Panthers, like, rookie quarterback, they're all that good.
But
right now, though,
yeah.
coming off 70 points, I think the Broncos are the worst team right now. And I do think that changes. Like, I'm not saying, like, they're all of a sudden going to be, like, a top 25 team, but right now, I think the Broncos are behind them.
And that's very fair. I mean, you lose by 70 points and you only put up 13 as an offense. I think I completely can agree with that. So we can put the Broncos at 3, put the Panthers at 2. So, yeah, this is a battle of the two worst teams in the NFL.
Yeah. And we have a little graphic just to show why this is the battle of the two worst teams in the NFL. The Broncos sent out clipping. They send out kind of a 50-page game notes, which is everything you could possibly know about every single franchise, from all the way back to the 60s to what just happened in this most recent game. So it's very detailed, and they send out a little infographic that has the Broncos and the team they're competing with, 33 different categories. And here it is on the screen right now. And you don't need to be able to read it. What I want you to look at is the colors that are on this. So if you have a green color for a stat, it means you're in the top 10. If you have a red color in the stat, it means you're the bottom 10. And if you're black, it means you're in between. So you're just average there. If you look at this, you see a lot more red on this graphic than anything else. In fact, I said 33 categories. The Broncos have 16 red categories, meaning in nearly half of these categories, and these are not cherry-picked at all. The Broncos would cherry-pick it so that there's no red categories. 16 out of 32, almost half of these categories on offense, defense, and special teams, and penalties, they are in the bottom 10. The Bears, 19. So they're even worse, have even more. In terms of the green, you see a little more green on the Broncos side. Broncos are in the top 10 in 6 categories. The Bears are in the top 10 in 1 category. You guys know that 1 category? Because I know you probably can't read that right there.
I can't read it. Return.
Field
That's
goal percentage.
Yeah.
So literally it comes down to one guy that is saving the Bears on this team. Broncos, though, number 1 in the league.
Yeah.
In kickoff return
Yep.
and punt return.
Yeah.
You can also pretty much point to one guy for that as well.
Yeah.
Now, I know there's more of a unit involved with that, but thank goodness for Marvin Mims for saving them. And the Broncos do have 2 green units on offense as well, which is kind of helping them as well. But you even look with how much of a bright spot the offense is. They have 4, 5 red units on offense too. So, I mean, it's just kind of a visual of, yikes, these might be the 2 worst teams.
Yeah, Football Outsiders died this summer, but it was the best place.
Did it really?
Yeah,
Wow.
there were some weird legal things, like there might have been like stealing. I can't remember, but basically they just pulled the website off. But that was the best place to go for a whole bunch of stats, including the like in-season special teams rankings. They did by far the best job, and it's a shame that those are dead. But Pro Football Focus is kind of the only other ones doing it. 2 top 10 special teams units playing this week.
How about it?
So what a matchup there. Yeah. Broncos at number 7, Chicago number 10.
Dang, I love it. So at least we're going to see some sort of good football here. And, you know, we're just laughing through this so that we don't cry. Because that's where we are right now. And heck, maybe in 2 weeks, we're talking about a 2-3 football team and how they're not at the bottom anymore. You know, I thought that a week ago, I for sure thought that the Arizona Cardinals were going to be in this conversation of 0-3 teams, how bad they are.
Yeah.
And they somehow pulled off the biggest upset in the NFL this week. So that's why they're not in this conversation. And it only takes a couple of weeks for the Broncos to get out of this conversation. But we laugh so we don't cry. But if you are crying, you need a roof over your head to block those tears. Check out our friends over at Red Hawk Roof. Too much of a stretch?
Yeah, I don't know how you're crying for it to be. Yeah, you're really crying hard.
It's like
a fountain.
An animation cry.
Yeah, you might have to check that out.
Check out our friends over at Red Hawk Roofing, where quality matters to them. They have decades of experience. They're available every single hour of every single day. They have a quick response time, and they're Colorado's best estimators and contractors. And on top of all of that, they're part of the DNVR family and have been part of the DNVR family. So that means that they are going to treat you with the care that you need. So if you're looking for a new roof over your home or business, be sure to check out Red Hawk Roofing at redhawkroofing.com and tell them the DNVR sent you.
And if you're in Las Vegas and you want to check out the Broncos get their first victory, you should be doing it over at Circa Resorts and Casinos, where you can get 20% off your stay using code DNVR. It is the first ever adults-only casino, so you don't have to worry about kids ruining your fun time. Go out there and have a great time where when it happens in Vegas, it stays in Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. They have 3-story stadium-style projector screens. They have a 143 by 40-foot LED screen, which is massive, which you will be able to watch every second of the Broncos. And that would have been terrible to have to watch that Miami game on that giant screen.
At some point, they would have turned it off, right?
Yeah, they would have had to do
Yeah.
something else.
At least you're in the pool.
It's true.
Drinks right there. You don't have to get out of the pool for the
nice
drinks.
Weather.
But I feel like after that, you would find people just holding themselves underwater. Like,
Yes.
like enough's enough. They have a 4,000 person capacity. They're open 365 days a year. There's 6 pools, 2 spas, 15,000 square feet of wet space, 2 swim bars, cabanas, super cabanas that hold up to 50 guests. Literally, you can do it all at Circa in Vegas using code DNVR to get 20% off your stay.
Man.
I am overdue for a trip to Vegas. It has been way too long.
Well, I think we all might be going out there at the beginning of January.
Maybe beginning of February. Super Bowl.
Both, probably.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Super Bowl in Vegas this year.
Yeah, I'm not even going to be recovered by then.
Oh, my goodness.
A month is not enough.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Wow. So Broncos, Raiders, Vegas, week 18. I believe that's January 7th, January 8th.
Yeah.
And then, Super Bowl a week later.
Damn,
Man,
that could
that's
be
gonna
first
awesome.
overall pick on the line.
Wow. Because, Raiders are only 1-2 right now. And Josh McDaniels, I just saw, odds-wise, he is now the leader in the clubhouse to be the first coach fired.
Wow.
Yeah. Taking that right away from Brandon Staley.
I shouldn't even
Both
ask
in the
this,
division.
but was Sean Payton on the board?
He is on the board. Yeah, I haven't seen where
There's
he
no
is.
way.
No
There's no
way.
way.
I believe
you can't do that.
Last week he was like 100 to 1 to be the first coach fired. So I mean, way far back.
Yeah.
But I think like Andy Reid was 250 to 1. So
Okay.
Sean was like way far back, but he wasn't the furthest. I actually haven't seen the updated. I'll look at that because those odds were just emailed to me. But yeah, Sean's not going to be the first.
There's
coach
no
fired.
way.
No.
You wouldn't think so. No, you certainly
There's
wouldn't.
no way.
Unless maybe they lose this game, then ownership starts thinking, I don't think so, though. But let's talk about this game. Break it down with our Whiteboard Wednesday. The keys for the Broncos to get their first dub in Chicago this weekend. And let's hit the first one. It is Blackjack. Blackjack. The point is to get to what?
21.
21 points, and you and you win, right?
Yes.
If you hit 21, you win.
What do you mean, right? Like, this is your thing. You should know this.
I'm trying for this to be interactive.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, okay,
So you get
okay.
to 21 points at blackjack and you win.
Yes.
If the Broncos get to 21 points, Justin Fields' history tells them that they will win. How crazy is this? The Bears have never won a game with Justin Fields as their quarterback where they score 21 points or more. Every single one of their wins with Justin Fields as their quarterback have been when they scored 20 or less points. Now, I'm a little worried saying this is a magic number because the Broncos defense has been so bad this year, and I could see them giving up 24 points to Justin Fields and losing because of that. But that's just crazy for a starting quarterback in the NFL to have never won a game scoring 21 or more points. So that's one of the magic numbers with blackjack. The other magic number, the Bears have never won a game with Justin Fields as their quarterback when he's thrown 21 or more passes. So make Justin Fields pass the ball. That's not a crazy thing to say because he's a very dynamic runner. But make Justin Fields pass the ball. Just get to 21 points, and you should win this game.
Those stats are pretty crazy, but you have to remember, Justin Fields only won 2 games his rookie year and only won 3 games last year. So there aren't a lot of wins to be
It's
working
true.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like Peyton Manning who won hundreds of games.
But you know what's crazy with Justin Fields? I was trying to find like a magic number specifically for him, and I thought there was going to be something with rushing. He hits 100 rushing yards, and the Bears win half their games, or that's when he gets all 3 of his wins. Or he hits 150 rushing yards, and they're guaranteed to win. There's no correlation with Justin Fields'
And
play.
winning.
And nothing,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Like, the Broncos are in a bad spot right now, but there's like somewhat maybe an identity. The Bears, you can't find any identity.
Yeah.
How many times do you think Justin Fields fumbled last year?
Oh, geez.
Played 15 games.
17?
16.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy.
That is tough, yeah.
In hindsight, I should have made one of my keys like force a fumble or something.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Damn.
Well, let's hop into the next key of the whiteboard to win this, and it is be nice.
Yeah. Don't give up 70 points again this week. Keep it to 69 or less.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah. I mean,
Nice.
like, it's kind of joking, but like,
I hope it's joking.
just like big picture, you got to pull it together.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even, you can get into details if you want. Come on. Like, just something. Like, just not that 70-point defensive effort, which when you pass it off to like the Bears on offense instead of the Dolphins turns out to be like 35 points, maybe 30 points.
Yeah.
But still, just whatever you did on defense,
Do different.
don't do that. Because you put up 70. I can't believe it still.
Oh my gosh. You guys aren't going to believe this. I just pulled up the odds for the first coach to be fired. I told you last week I think Sean Payton was 100-1 after losing by 50. 33-1. So he has crept way up there. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's tied for the 7th highest odds.
There's no way he's fired.
There's no way.
If anything, he'll become the GM and coach before he'd be fired.
Yes, it's not gonna
Yep,
happen.
Yep, I'll take those odds for sure. All right, let's get back to the whiteboard. Next key for this is bear trap.
Yeah, I think this is for the Broncos, man. We cannot get caught in this bear trap. The thing about the Bears is they're a very terrible team, but if you give them any life, if you don't go in and punch them in the mouth and show them that it's not a game, they will hang on and they'll find a way to beat you in the end because they're both 2 terrible teams, and this is the only game they really feel like in their locker room they have the capability to win. So you can get caught in that bear trap if you want, but I wouldn't do it. I would go in there and show them how you guys play football the very first quarter and not leave it to chance or give them any opening for you to get caught in that bear trap. And truthfully for them, I feel like they're going to come out and run the ball. They're averaging about 100 yards rushing a game, which is like middle of the pack. They rush a lot, but after giving up 350, I feel like they're going to feel confident that they can put together some run plays
Probably
against
should.
you. So do not get caught in this bear trap. Go out there, play good football to start the game, and close it out. Because if you punch them in the mouth early, they'll go away.
Yeah, and this plays into the Broncos' strengths well with having great first half starts and then falling apart in the second half. However, I think if you come out great against this team, the Bears will just quit by the second half. So even if you fall apart in the second half, I still think you're going to win. You're not going to blow an 18-point lead to the Bears because simply the Bears aren't going to score 18 points in the second half for you to have to compete with, even against this Broncos defense. So this is a week where you don't have to have a good second half. You can be as bad in the second half as long as you come out strong. So I think that's such a great point, Todd.
It feels like one of those weeks where I hope Alex and Josie just angry. And I feel like they're going to be really mad. Same thing with like Quinn Miners. Feels like he's just going to be super pissed off. I think that hopefully is just the tone in the locker room is like, I can't believe this happened. Let's just go take this out on these other losers because, like I hope that that's the vibe because they really are capable of making this game ugly for the Bears. Basically any team in the league is, and they should have plenty of motivation. I just hope they're not like moping and sad. And I said that and realized Josie might not be playing.
That's
we'll get
exactly
the update
what I was going
today.
to ask, which means your guy Drew Sanders could be in there.
I'd go Justin Sternad. Like he was the backup Mike during all of training camp. Like ever since Jonas Griffith went down, it's Justin who is taking those reps. After seeing last week, especially knowing they're going to run the ball, all you need is somebody who's going to be in the right place.
A body.
Exactly. Like just put the body in the hole and you're going to be fine. And Justin, I trust to do that.
Yeah.
Drew may be good for his development to get him reps, and I think they still probably want him to take over the job next year. Like you don't spend a second-round pick on a guy or early third-round pick on a guy and not expect him to take that job next year. So I bet that it's him, if not Josie, but Justin's probably the smart move.
Speaking of Justin, hopefully Justin Simmons is back too. You're not worried about Justin Fields beating you through the air like Tua did last week, but hopefully you can have Justin back for tackling purposes.
Yeah, I think they need him. If I was him, man, I'd wait until I was really healthy. Though this game is not one that is going to need me. And if there are trade rumors, I got to be healthy if I'm about to leave. So
yeah,
like you want to stay.
Yeah.
In which case you're like you don't want to be super healthy.
You just be hurt all year.
At this point, I don't blame Justin for.
No.
I want to
if
see
he
him
wants to
succeed.
leave.
Yeah,
Exactly.
if he wants to leave at this point, I think they should allow him to do so. He's been here. He's given you all he's had, and it's worked out for him. But it still hasn't been any other winning seasons that he wants. You know what I'm saying? He's a great player, and he deserves to be on a good Super Bowl contending team.
And we're going to have these conversations, especially if the Broncos keep losing, more in depth. But the Broncos did right when they decided to move on from Von Miller, sending him to the Rams, which then turned out to win the Super Bowl. That's what would happen with Justin because a bad team isn't going to trade for Justin. It's going to be a contending team. So, man, it would stink if it comes to that. But I would also feel good for Justin himself to go with a winner because he certainly has played like a winner. All right, next whiteboard topic, we've got get tailored.
Yeah, it's the best I could come up with. The run fits. Got fit the runs right. Like it's been terrible.
Sew it up.
Exactly. And that's going back getting back to the to like the Drew Sanders, Justin Sternad, like that's terrifying. The fact that you could be botching those run fits, and I think they were using like the safeties in the run fits, and that wasn't really working either. Like those guys were lost as well. You've got to get that figured out because it doesn't matter how bad the Bears are if you're just giving them open running lanes.
Yeah.
Like if there's just space right there because some guy was like, oh no, I'm going over here today. Like it doesn't matter how bad the other team is. It's just simple fundamental things that I hope get cleaned up because they never had an issue with that in the past.
Yeah.
Like in this, like honestly, since Josie got here and probably even back when you were playing, like I don't remember these sorts of mistakes. Like there were games where you kind of get pushed around, but those even were pretty rare and nobody ever seemed like consistently out of place.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely something that needs to be cleaned up because if you watched the film last week, there was times where it was 11 personnel on offense, so one running back, one tight end, and then we had 5 down D linemen in the game, well 3 D linemen, 2 outside linebackers, and then we had 1 linebacker in the middle of the field.
Yep.
And based on those schemes, there's only 1 gap open that the linebacker should fill. Other than that, every gap should be taken up by a D lineman. So how they were gashing us for 50 yards a pop against that defense, I have no clue what was going on because there literally should be nowhere for them to be able to run.
Yeah, it's so simple. And like that defense is designed for that reason. Like that became popular in the last couple of years because of all the teams taking like the Kyle Shanahan, like wide zone, like the run fits just kind of get complicated and tough to predict, like because they have all those double teams and stuff, right? So you have each guy in each gap, and all of a sudden, like it kind of ruins the double teams. You have like fits that just are very simple and make sense, and you shouldn't be getting gashed. And you're going up against that exact running game, and it's just confusing to watch.
Yeah, it certainly is. Let's hope they can get it figured out. Next whiteboard topic is less is more, as in DJ Moore. Justin Fields, he hasn't even been a weapon for the Bears, even with his feet this year. They just haven't used him right. He hasn't been able to take advantage of it. Literally the one semi-dangerous player that the Bears have on offense is DJ Moore, and the Broncos and Pat Surtain know that better than anyone because DJ Moore, and he was Carolina last year. Javonte Adams got Pat Surtain once last year, and DJ Moore got the best of Pat last year. Outside of that, Pat shut down 15 teams, but we know that DJ Moore is a good receiver, and he is their only receiver in this game. He leads the Bears in receiving, 11 catches, 170 yards, 1 touchdown. Those aren't crazy stats by any means. Guess how many receiving yards their next receiver has? So not tight end, not running back. Their next receiver has on the entire season through 3 games. Their second leading receiver yards-wise.
54 yards.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. I'll go 60.
Todd, spot on. 53 yards. 53 yards. Russell Wilson ran for more yards in week 2 than their second leading receiver has all season. It is wild. So the 170 yards that DJ Moore has looks incredible for them. What you do here, you put Pat Surtain on DJ Moore. You don't need anyone else to help him out. Justin Fields and DJ Moore are not going to burn this. But what I do, Todd, you said it all week. Make it vanilla. Make the game plan vanilla. Pat Surtain, you're in man coverage on DJ Moore all game. You're following him all game. If you really need help with Damari Mathis in man coverage on someone else, then you can have Justin Simmons or DTY or Kareem Jackson over him, but you're not going to need that help. Just make it simple. Pat Surtain on DJ Moore.
Yeah, I think that's a great fit. And hopefully we finally see Pat follow the number one receiver. We were supposed to see it last week. It didn't really come out. I think we saw him follow him a little bit in man coverage, but then it automatically gave them a tail when you were in his zone. Like, you got to have him follow him nonstop, so that way you won't be able to tell right off the bat if it's man or zone. But like you said, this should be very vanilla. And the good thing about cover 1 is you can run it a couple different ways, whether you are in cover 1 or cover 9 with 2 inside hook droppers to where everybody's playing outside man. Like, just play man. You can play different versions of man, but just play man, you know?
Totally agree. And let's round out our Whiteboard Wednesday with our final key to the game of Goldfield Syndrome.
You guys know what this is?
No.
I cheated. I looked it up because I had no idea what it was.
So if you guys are Adam Sandler's fans, this is what Lucy has in 51st Dates. So this is the mindset I feel like Broncos need to have about last week. Like, it never happened. You don't need to think about it anymore. You got to go into this game fresh, because if you continue to think about it, it's only going to spill over into other games. So have that short-term memory loss as best as you can. Forget about it, because you got to move on. I mean, you can't let that game affect this game. This game has to be fresh. This game has to be new. I think if you think about the season, that's already happened, you maybe go to a close game that you had against the Raiders, or a close game you had against Washington. Like, you completely forget that Miami game altogether.
I love that. Yep. I love that, Todd. You killed it with that one. And Henry, you were down on yourself for Get Taylor. That one's a good one too.
Yeah,
I liked it.
It's not bad.
I also like our next segment. We are talking to the one and only Brian Baldinger. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Fubo TV. Use the code DNVR. Go to FuboTV.com/DNVR to get a discount on your Fubo TV. When you sign up, you can get Pac-12, college football, all the college football you need, Broncos, NFL Network, Red Zone. I mean, come on. You want Red Zone? FuboTV.com/DNVR is the best way to get Red Zone, especially if you don't want to watch 50-point blowouts, so you want to flip on other games. You get to Fubo, get that Red Zone TV. Now is the time to do it. Make sure to go to FuboTV.com/DNVR.
And shout out to our friends over at Splash Sports, where DNVR has a weekly Pick X contest for everyone to participate for real money. This is how you enter. Head to splashsports.com/DNVR. The link is in the description, and sign up. Deposit cash to get started and enter DNVR's weekly NFL Pick X contest for just $20. And they have some crazy prizes. Like, the first prize is, what was it, $7,000?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Then it's like $1,000. Then it's like $900. So a lot of winning to be done there. The more people who enter, the larger the prize. They'll be running weekly contests all year, so make sure you keep the link handy and go to splashsports.com/DNVR to sign up.
And let's hop over and talk to our guy, Brian Baldinger, with, of course, Baldy's breakdowns. And what a great person to talk to today because, Brian, you have seen so much football in your life. And was Sunday's defensive performance that the Broncos had the worst defense you've ever seen?
It was up there. I can't think of too many games where I saw it worse. Chicago had one of those kind of performances against Kansas City. I haven't seen 10 touchdowns scored, and the coach shut it down. They might have been able to score more. I mean, the backup quarterback comes in with some players I've never heard of and scored touchdowns. What really, out of all the plays, I mean, you could say, okay, third play, here's Tyreek Hill, 54 yards. Like, we're not surprised. We've seen that before. But, Javonte came into this game carrying the ball one time for 5 yards. And he left like he was Barry Sanders. Like, I haven't seen that before from a rookie back come in and do what he did, where it looks like they've never tackled in their life, and they let a rookie back that really hadn't played yet look like Barry Sanders. Like, that to me was shocking. And on that second touchdown drive where they went the length of the field and he scored on the 8-yard touchdown run, like, literally, they ran the same play. Like, I've seen coaches double up plays because they work, and sometimes you double up a play because it should have worked. But I've never seen a coach just triple up a play and run toss crack, the same direction, different formation, and just, Raheem Mostert a chain and score on it. Like, I haven't seen that. I always feel like Mike McDaniel was just playing with them at that point.
I mean, where do the Broncos even go from here? Like, when you give up 70 points and you lose by 50 and you're 0-3, like, what's next? How do you bounce back?
Well, I saw where Sean Payton was really kind of in a dilemma whether to show the film or not show the film. Because there's two totally different philosophies. Let's just flush it and move on. And he decided, no, we're going to sit and watch it. We're going to painfully watch it. We're going to just pick apart certain mistakes. Like, if you're running toss crack against us, would somebody, for crying out loud, speak up and say the crackback is coming? Like miscommunication. Brandon, Johnson, look, he might be a nice young player. Like, let's just figure out pre-snap penalties, offensive pass interference, like some of these things that took touchdowns away last week. Like, let's just clean that stuff up. I think that's a start. I thought that, from a positive standpoint, look, from the opening series, 3 plays, 75 yards, it was going to be a track meet. So I thought for the first quarter and a half, they stayed in the track meet. Marvin Mims, maybe they found a good player in Marvin. Like, he seems to be getting behind defenses right now. Russell's playing pretty good, but he's hit way too much right now. So, like, for a quarter and a half, it looked like, okay, this might be fun. And then, 21-10 became 28-35, and it was ugly. So it was over. But I just thought you got to take what you've done well. Russell's played pretty good football. The turnovers are horrible. They're not taking the ball away. Why is that? Like, sometimes they come in bunches, but you can't keep losing the turnover battle like they did on Sunday, like they did the week before against Washington. You can't lose the turnover battle and win games. It's not going to happen. So that has to stop. And then I think I talked about it last week, but just knowing Sean Payton, like, he is just it's like, the word is maniacal, but he's worse than that when it comes to red zone offense. Like, Cortland Sutton dropping a touchdown pass. Like, that stuff drives them nuts. Going back to week 1 against the Raiders, they're down there, I don't know, at the 5-yard line, they can't score. Like, it's driving them. Like, he'll kick the field goals because you got to kick a field goal. But he don't want to kick any field goals. He wants to score touchdowns, and they're not doing it right now.
I definitely feel like they need to score touchdowns. I want to go back to a point where you talked about players' mistakes and being able to clean it up. Specifically, you mentioned that toss crack. I think I saw Randy Gregory get cracked on multiple times, and he never looked to the wide receiver. Right. He kept running upfield. And as a veteran outside linebacker, I feel like that's something he should know. At this point, is it more talent, or is it just him understanding his job? And is it something that he can correct, or is he kind of too far gone?
Well, it should only happen once.
Yes.
And then it should never happen again. Like, you have to look for it. You have to feel it. Somebody's got to be telling him, here it comes. I mean, River Craycraft is lined up there for a reason.
Yep.
Like, he's there now, to actually get blocked by a wide receiver, if I'm Randy Gregory, it's embarrassing. Like, you feel the crack, you just swat him. Like, swat. Like, a wide receiver can't stick his helmet into my ribs and stay blocked. You You just can't. You play right over the top. Like, you have to defeat the block. So there's two things. Communication there helps. And then Randy Gregory, you can't get blocked. You can't stay blocked. You can't be blocked. Like, it just can't happen. Like, Nick, I don't care if it's Nick Bosa, if it's, Randy Gregory. Like, you can't get blocked on that play.
Brian,
because if you defeat that block, the whole play gets blown up. Yeah. There is no touchdown. There's nothing. Everything, all the downfield blocks don't matter because the pursuit is going to stretch it, and you're never going to get that turn up into the alley. So it's never going to happen. So that block is the key block to defeat. And that's why if you're going to run that play, you better get somebody who knows how to make that block. And there's a lot of different ways to coach it, but that block makes the play.
Brian, I know it's only 3 weeks into the season here, but with all of these issues on defense, does there need to be a change on defense, whether it's the defensive coordinator? A lot of people calling for Vance Joseph's job in Denver this week, or do you need to just make some changes and pull some guys out of the starting lineup? Does something big need to happen?
Well, I mean, teams have done that. Yeah, I mean, defense coordinators get fired in this league. Sometimes you fire them just to be the fall guy, just to have a different voice in the room. But after you give up 10 touchdowns like they did, I mean, every defensive coordinator would feel like their head's on the chopping block. They have to feel that way. It's on their watch. And so I think it's a little early for that. I mean, Sean Payton, if he cuts ties this quickly, then you start really questioning, well, what about this whole staff? Is it just Vance? Is it Sean Payton's staff? Did he not get the right guys? Like, whatever. I think it's a little early to pull the plug. You got a very winnable game in Chicago this weekend. Winning is the best deodorant for all this stuff. But the one thing I always thought about Vance Joseph is because of the way that he pressured the quarterback, they took the ball away a lot in Arizona. They had takeaways. They're not taking the ball away at all. They're not causing any fumbles. They're not intercepting any passes. They're not getting their hands on any balls. Like, they got to start taking it away. And sometimes pressure does that. And sometimes just being relentless about popping the ball out the way some teams are, like, that's got to start changing. If you're going to give up yards, you can live with that if you take it away. If you just look at Sean Payton's history, the year he won his Super Bowl in New Orleans, they led the league in takeaways. All right, so, like, that's you need to start taking it away. You can't be -4 in the turnover battle after 3 games and think you're going to have a winning record.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at these two teams and the Bears and the Broncos, we just had the discussion, are those the 2 worst teams in the NFL? I mean, do you think that they are? Like, are we about to watch potentially the matchup of the 2 teams most likely to go get Caleb Williams at the end of the year this weekend?
Well, you might have said before last week that Arizona could have been in that, but Arizona was in every game, and then they just beat the Dallas Cowboys. And then you just beat them. They beat them. They ran for 220 yards. They played airtight red zone defense. I mean, they did everything they didn't do in the first 2 games to finish games. So I feel like Denver isn't the worst team. I mean, the 1-point loss to the Raiders, who are a bad team, I feel like the Raiders are worse, even though the Raiders beat them. Like, just the way that team is playing and the lack of belief in any part of that team. I feel like Denver's better than that, but the record is what the record is. So, but I would say Chicago, though, like, I can't find any sort of shining light. You fire the defensive coordinator for things that probably haven't been told yet. The quarterback speaks out after 2 weeks against the offensive coordinator and the design. It was 41-0. 7 minutes into the third quarter the other day, and Taylor Swift, he wasn't sure exactly what color jersey, Travis Kelce had on. Like, it was ugly. So I feel like the way they're playing, like, that looks like the worst team to me.
I definitely agree. I think that the Bears are the worst team in the NFL. They don't do many things right or well. The only category where they're not in the bottom of the league is rushing. They average 101 rushing yards a game. After seeing the Broncos give up 350, do you think it's a smart game plan for them to just come out and try to pound the ball as much as they can, run a couple toss cracks, and basically try to win the game on the ground and take the ball out of Justin Fields' hand?
Well, Justin Fields is going to be a part of the run game. And one of the reasons why, they led the league in rushing last year, Justin ran for over 1,000 yards. And, he's running the ball a lot this year in scrambles, design runs. But you can't, it'd be nice if you could just be Barry Switzer at Oklahoma in the mid-70s and just run the wishbone, but this, on 3rd and 8, you're probably not going to run the ball, and you're going to be in that situation. So you still have to throw it. But, yeah, I would lean heavily on the run, and just see if they can get off blocks, if they can, if they can figure out the run fits and all that kind of stuff that you got to just be basic, to any sort of defense. Every defense is a gap defense. If you could just get to your gaps, and make them earn their yards. Like I'd see if they could do that, but I think they're going to have to do a little bit more than that. The one thing that disturbs me, though, about Chicago's defense, and this, is that every game plan starts with, all right, what do you want to take away? Let's take this away. Like last week, Travis Kelce. That'd be a good idea. 3rd down, red zone. Like, let's take Travis away. Well, they never did that. They never hit him off the line of scrimmage. They never doubled him. He just ran like he was a 3rd-string tight end to the open spots, and he it was ridiculous. And so, I feel like they don't start with the basics of taking something away. Like, I would say, okay, to Denver, I'd go, let's pressure Russell Wilson. It seems like that's the best formula right now for this to sink this offense. Let's figure out a way to do that. But they haven't done that. They haven't blitzed. They played the most amount of zone defense of any team in this league. And if I'm Russell, I'm thinking, okay, this is my 300-yard, 4-touchdown pass game. It's coming. Let's put it together. Let's go.
I love that. And Brian, last one for you. I know I'm looking ahead a little bit, but you were just out with the New York Jets, getting some intel on them. Broncos play the Jets a week from now. Is there a chance that Trevor Siemian is going to be their starting quarterback come 2 weeks? What's going on in that Jets organization right now?
Well, I heard that when I walked in the building today, and I was shocked because Trevor Siemian played for Chicago last year against the Jets, and that was the Jets' last win, and Chicago couldn't score that day. And that film, the Jets watched that film. They got their 7th win that day. They never didn't win another game. Trevor Siemian has been a disaster in this business. I don't know how he helps that football team. Zach Wilson's got his own issues. The offensive line, look, they juggled the whole thing last week. They played a rookie, never played guard before. He played guard. It was a mess. But the quarterback right now is a mess. And I don't know if he can be fixed. I don't know if that he can. Defense, look, they gave up 13 points last week. They give up too many 3rd down conversions. But they give up 13 points. And most Sundays, I'm speaking to a team that just gave up 70. Most teams, if you give up 13 points, you feel like you got a, better than an 80% chance of winning that game, and they didn't. So they've got a lot of problems. Denver has a chance to get healthy here the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, thank goodness that the Broncos play 2 teams that have a lot of problems as they're dealing with their own. And I lied. Actually, one quick one, because you said her name. Is Brian Baldinger a Swiftie?
No. I don't know one song. And, Taylor Swift, I'm in Philadelphia. She's from Reading, Pennsylvania. It's right over the bridge. She's an hour away from Philly. Honestly, hometown hero, whatever. I don't know one song. Well, I'm not a Swiftie. I hear she just made $1 billion on her tour. So God bless her. Obviously she's got fans around the world, but it's not that I'm not a fan. I just don't listen to that music.
Well, you know what? I think Broncos fans appreciate that since now she's riding with the Chiefs. So, Brian, awesome insight. Thank you so much. We're so pumped to have you on next week. Maybe talking about a 1-win Broncos team. Thanks so much for your insight, Brian.
Okay, guys. You got it, man.
Man, awesome insight. Love those conversations with Brian. And, the chat was going crazy with it, too. He knows ball.
Yeah, he does, without a doubt.
He definitely does.
He studies ball. He's played for a long time, and he knows a lot of the intricate details. I admire his work ethic, breaking down every single game, because there's
crazy.
no way I could do that.
Yeah.
So he definitely knows what he's talking about and knows football.
My favorite part is when he comes on and then says things that are kind of like things we've said. You were bringing up the toss cracks, and it's yeah, that's right. We talked about that. Or the they didn't take anything away. It's oh, we were talking about that. They did nothing. He's just so smart that when he says something that you said, you're just oh, I know my stuff.
All right, so let's tell you about our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook, where, man, we didn't ask Brian his prediction for this week, but the way he was talking, he thinks the Broncos are going to win this game. I don't know about against the Jets, even though they're in shambles, he told us, but seems like the Broncos should win this game. And if you want to use bonus bets to bet on this game, use promo code DNVR when you sign up over at DraftKings Sportsbook, where you're going to turn $5 and $200 in bonus bets instantly. What's so cool about this is you literally place a $5 bet over at DraftKings Sportsbook after using the promo code DNVR. You place that bet, $200 in bonus bets are going to hit your account right away, which then you can use. So bet on Thursday Night Football this week, and then you can use that for CSU or CU USC or Broncos Bears. So head over to the App Store now, download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get that deal. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Please call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsibly gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
Well, I missed that. What'd you say? I missed that. Yeah, actually, I got a bonus bet because I missed some other bet that gave me a $10 bonus bet.
Yep.
Colorado to beat USC, Falcons to win the NFC South, then the Avs to win the Stanley Cup. Pays out $2,800.
Wow.
Yep.
And
they
it
might be
pays
all over it come Sunday morning.
But see, the good thing is now I don't have to actually bet any money on USC or on Colorado beat USC because it's this will just be alive. So
Yeah.
I'll feel pretty good. Also, though, gotta give a shout out to our friends over at Breckenridge Brewery. I've actually been drinking quite a few Breckenridge beers. Mostly, it's football season, So it's like Saturdays. You come down here, have a couple Broncos Country beers because those are actually our beer of the month here at the bar. So you can get them at a discount. Really recommend those, but you really just can't go wrong with Breckenridge beers. There's a Strawberry Sky. That's just the best. Everybody likes it. Everybody likes a Strawberry Sky. My girlfriend likes it. She doesn't even really drink beer, and she'll be it's nice. But then even the hardcore beer people who are I like this fancy they only made one batch and it's from New Hampshire or something. But they'll drink it and be oh, this is actually really good. There's not too much strawberry. It's just a good beer. So that's probably my favorite. But there's so many awesome beers and you can get most of them down here at the bar. Oh, also right now, if you want, you can head over to oh, never mind. That is now Women's World Cup is over. But yeah, Breckenridge Brewery, they're awesome. And use the breckbrew.com for the beer locator.
Name me one beer from New Hampshire, Hank.
Oh, I bet there's a New Hampshire Pale Ale. If you just take the state name, there's definitely New Hampshire Brewing Company. You know?
Think so?
I'm sure. That's always the first one that gets taken. There's a Denver Beer Company.
That's true. That's
you
true.
know?
Name what is New Hampshire known for?
I don't know.
I can't think of
It's
anything.
Vermont maple syrup, right?
Exactly.
Isn't Vermont maple syrup? Yeah.
Yeah,
New
that's the only thing
Hampshire.
about them. New Hampshire.
Can you name the capital?
Oh, yes, I can.
I don't think
maybe
you
I can't. Maybe I can't. Maybe I can't.
Todd, do you know the capital?
Heck no.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't get it either. Oh, wow.
Whoa. Never would have gotten
She's over there Googling.
She has three computers in front of her.
Wow.
She didn't Google it though. Okay, let's get into something that we do know. We know the comment section. And speaking of the comment section, we've got a lot of people tuning in right now. And only a handful of you have hit us with a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It really helps us out. And we really appreciate everyone rolling with us, even though this season has not gone to plan. So we really appreciate everyone who's rocking and rolling with us. And let's get to some super chats. David Freeze comes in and says, thinking of buying tickets for this weekend's game in Chicago if they drop low enough. I can't find any info on the website about a tailgate. For the Broncos tailgate, I think you actually go to the CHGO Bears account since we're hosting a joint tailgate with the Bears and Broncos. But crazy enough, this game is in Chicago. There's going to be more Broncos fans at our tailgate than Bears fans. That just shows this stadium's definitely going to have blue and orange because it's the Bears.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a lot of Broncos fans there too.
And that's crazy because the Bears are such a historic team. Like they have like a cult following almost. Like they've all just kind of like written them off and they're done.
Yeah.
Speaking of writing them off, and if you want to buy a ticket, use that Game Time. Use that code DNVR.
Yes.
Speaking of tickets though, and people writing the team off, away games for the Broncos the rest of the way have a much higher resale value than home games. It's sad to see. It's sad to see. Maybe it'll turn around. Maybe those Jets games tickets will go up after a win this week.
I know. I've got like friends here who moved down here from Montana around the same time I did, and all of them like they've never seen what Denver's like when the Broncos are good. Yeah. Like we've had the run with like the Avs and the run with the Nuggets, but the Broncos is just like crazy when it works. But it's just it's sad.
When did they move down here?
2019.
So it's them.
Yes, it is them. It is them.
They came from Montana, brought that Montana tradition down.
That reminds me, I brought this up on TSP yesterday, but so that same like group mostly live here now, but a couple came down for the Arizona-Colorado game in 2021. So that's when Arizona had lost like I think it was like 19, 20 straight games. Colorado was having like the Colorado season where like they're terrible. ESPN called it the pillow fight of the week. And so I have like these friends who are from Montana come down and they like go to the game and they're just like, oh, this was not really all that fun at all. Like this sucks. I mean, they're used to Montana football, so you know they get excited. But now they refuse to go to not refuse, but like they had the option Colorado, Nebraska, or Broncos Raiders. Chose Broncos Raiders, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But that's just that.
Wow.
You have the one bad experience.
Yeah, that's true.
Pillow fight of the week. But we've got our pillow fight of the week
I was
this
just going to say, is this the pillow fight of the week?
Yep.
Seth Stewart says, even with my team, the joke of the league, I'm still here. Still a fan, still tuned into DNVR. Love you guys, and I appreciate all the work you guys put in. Try to stay positive. It's getting hard. We love you, Seth. Thanks so much for rolling with us. And, you know, once it gets to this point in the season... You just laugh.
Week 4.
Really nothing else.
Once you get to week 4, I mean, all you can do
I can't
is
believe
laugh.
it's not even October.
I know, it's crazy.
At least the Bears game is October, so we can start turning the page maybe.
I just don't know where I'm going to be mentally if they're 2-3. Because right now it's like season is over. There's no coming back from this. But you're probably going to be 2-3 in 2 weeks. I guess ESPN does say they'd favor the Jets. It's like a 47% chance the Broncos win. So you're still right there.
What's this one? Do you know?
I think it's like 53 for the Broncos.
Oh, geez. That's really close.
52.8. Yep.
Wow. That's way closer than
I mean,
they're
both pretty close. So if you're sitting here at 2-3, all of a sudden, like, we could be talking about you steal one from the Chiefs, and all of a sudden you're very much in playoff contention.
I've thought about this a lot the past 24 hours. Just there's kind of 3 scenarios heading into these next 2 weeks. You're 2-3, you feel some momentum, and you pull 2 of the next 3 games, which is 2 against the Chiefs, 1 against the Packers. So that means you beat the Packers, and then you pull off an upset against the Chiefs, which would do wonders for this team if they beat the Chiefs and they're at 2-3. That means you're going into the bye 4-4. That means that you're 4-1 in your last 5 games. Like, the season has totally turned around. You're back in this thing. Or option 2, you're 2-3, and then you lose the next 3 games, and it turns out that these 2 were just the 2 easiest games on your schedule, and you're not the worst team in the NFL. You're 2-6 going into the bye, and the bye week is also the trade deadline, so you're probably selling some stuff off right then. Or you go 1-2 over these next 2 games, or 0-2, and then there is legitimate, I mean, not just talk, you are the worst team in the NFL. It's wild how much these 2 games actually do matter for what it could mean, because you get on a 2-game win streak, Todd, that could be some momentum going into the Chiefs. Now, I know that's a stretch, but I mean, there could be momentum there.
There could. I'm not holding my breath right now.
Exactly, yes.
If it happens, I'll be one of the happiest persons in the world, but I'm not banking on it. But let's see what happens, man. I say any given Sunday, so you never know what's going to happen. But I can't say I'm holding my breath to watch it happen.
You got to climb the ladder, and this is the bottom rung. Got to be able to beat the Chicago Bears. And if you can't do that, obviously the season's over. But, I mean, come on. It's a 50-50 game, right? Like,
that's wild.
I don't know. You should be able to find a way to beat the Bears.
I agree. We're getting our game picks tomorrow. We'll see if we actually believe that.
I don't
And
know if I
final
can do
super
it.
chat, The Campo says, my boys, love the pod. Thanks for keeping us sane during the week. What's your thoughts on why the team hasn't made any changes? And where would you like to see a change, if any?
I just think they haven't made changes because I don't know if it puts the team in a better position if they make changes to coordinators or even moving players around. I think the best players we have right now on this roster are starting for us. And where would I like to see a change? If there was one to be made, I don't see us trading for anybody right now.
No.
But it's weird to say, but I would love to see some changes kind of in the interior of the D-line. I feel like we really could use some pass rush dominant interior D linemen to really help us get after the quarterback.
Yeah, there's really only a few spots that you can have change on the defensive side. Outside linebackers, you're kind of where you are with them. Frank Clark's hurt, so you got to roll with the 3 healthy guys that you have, so no changes there. Defensive line's one spot that you can make a change. Todd, I agree there. Inside linebackers, you've tried to make a change. The only change would be Justin Strnad over Drew Sanders. And you can't make any changes with safeties because literally you're playing your only healthy safeties right now. You're not changing Pat Surtain. So then the only other spot is that other corner spot. And do you put Riley Moss, a rookie, playing his first NFL game, do you put him as a starting corner outside opposite Pat Surtain? Damari Mathis, I think, still ranks as the worst rated cornerback in the NFL on Pro Football Focus. So maybe it could only get better, but also putting a rookie cornerback on an island could be tough. But that's maybe a spot that they do it.
Yeah, and if we were to lose this game, knock on wood that we don't, then you just start trying stuff.
Yep.
Then you just start putting people anywhere and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's where I am. It's like right now, no changes for me, but it would be on the defensive side. And I do think the obvious one is swapping out Damari or, make you change your defensive coordinator, but that's a big decision to make.
Oh, and also, sorry, Henry.
Damari is now second worst.
Second worst, okay.
Yep. Josh Blackwell, behind him, he's played 19 snaps for, guess what team?
The Bears.
The Chicago Bears.
Yikes. Speaking of 19 snaps, another change I need to see, make Marvin Mims your number 1 receiver. And it doesn't have to be running those routes necessarily. He needs more than 15 snaps. Week 1, 16 snaps. Week 2, 17 snaps. Week 3, 15 snaps. Last week, 15 snaps. He leads the league in yards per catch at almost 28 yards per catch. Number 2 in the entire NFL is 5 yards behind him. That shows how good he's been. Get him on the field more than 25% of the time. Like, at least 50%. I think he should be an 80% guy because we've also seen him catch some short routes. He's not just a one-trick pony, but come on, what are we doing here? He's successful. Get him more targets.
According to Pro Football Focus, he's the best Bronco. I don't think that's like a huge surprise.
Wow.
Yeah. Like it makes sense. And I think it's pretty obvious that it's time for that. Like I think there's no way that he only plays like 20 snaps again, right? Like he's got to be out there at least half the game. Yeah, but I mean like he'd done it once. And so then now he's proven it again. And so now I think like obviously he's got to be the guy. Who do you think's the number 2 Bronco? Fun trivia.
On Pro Football Focus?
Yeah.
Pat.
No, that touchdown knocked him down. He's number 2 on the defense. It is defense is the number 2 on the team though.
Oh, boy.
Nick Benito.
No, he got bailed out a little bit last week.
Justin Simmons?
On the right path, but no.
So someone that didn't play last week? Josie Jewell?
Yeah, Josie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. Good for Josie.
Yeah.
Yep. Not playing most of that game helped. Probably didn't help the team, but.
Wait, is Alex Singleton kind of far down? I thought I saw something that from Pro Football Focus, he was ranked pretty low.
Yeah, so he is 18 out of 23.
Broncos?
23 defensive Broncos.
Who's
Yeah.
23rd?
Drew Sanders.
Oh, okay.
He had a tough day.
Yes, he did. Okay, let's actually hop into some comments on the website really quick. We do have a show after us, I believe, but I do want to hit a couple of these. The count says, why wasn't Russ pulled down by 6, 7, 8 scores? Why has Mims only played 33 snaps? I thought the visor was supposed to be an offensive genius. Open your eyes, people. Love the count. I don't know. We haven't got an answer from Sean at why he didn't pull guys.
I don't think he's been asked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He hasn't been asked. I might ask him today, as a matter of fact.
That's a good one.
I mean, he must just have the same philosophy that Henry has.
Got to sit in what you did. I mean, I don't know that I would have played them the entire game. But at the same time, like, I get it. I get it. There's no right answer when you're down by 7 scores. They never got to 8 scores. 50 points is 7 scores.
Well, that's good. That's good. Wait, were they down 70-13 though? Or were they down 63-13, then they made it 20, and then they made it 70?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
That would take it to 8 though.
Yeah.
Also, real quick on Russ. He actually has played up to his contract, like objectively. Like when you just look at the numbers, he's the 5th highest paid quarterback in the league. If you take out the guys on rookie deals, who in this case it's Brock Purdy, Tua, and Jordan Love, who are kind of in there, also CJ Stroud, he's among like only guys on second contracts. He's 3rd in touchdowns. He's 4th in yards per attempt. He's 2nd in yards per completion. He's 4th in air yards per attempt. He's 5th in passer rating, 6th in yards. Like, you're kind of getting what you paid for. 99.5 passer rating, career 100.2. Like, you kind of, he's doing the thing.
I mean, his stats, a lot of his stats are identical to Patrick Mahomes' stats.
Yeah.
They both have a 99.5 passer rating. And I think we need to see it more in the second half, though. We can't have one half Russ and say that he's living up to his contract.
And it's only been 3 games versus all of last season.
But Russ, that highlights, Henry, Russ is not the problem with this team. Is he the answer? That can be debated, but he's certainly not the issue right now.
No, he's not.
All
right. Guy.
Broncos
Poor
Tiz
guy.
says, I'll say it, honest debate. Can Marvin Mims be Tyreek Hill? Zach mentions he's averaging 28 yards per reception, 5 more than the next closest. And in 3 games, he already has 2 huge returns. Hill started out as a returner before becoming a full-time receiver.
Yeah, so I actually, I wrote about Marvin last week. Go read that. But I asked Pat specifically, like, you've obviously played Tyreek a lot. Marvin Mims is obviously nowhere close to Tyreek because that's an insane thing to say. But if he were to become Tyreek, like, what are those next steps? And he pointed out 2 things. The first one was the route tree. He needs to be able to run every route. It's not just these deep routes that he's running. And the second thing is the catch and run. And maybe he has more of that we haven't seen yet. That could be it. But that's kind of the second piece. You got to catch the ball and be able to immediately turn and make plays. That's Pat Surtain's answer to the question.
Yeah, and Tyreek Hill is just an all-around receiver. You think of him as just a speed guy, but he's also like unbelievably strong.
Jump balls.
He can beat he can do everything. So I don't think Marvin Mims is a one-trick pony, and I think he can develop into an all-around receiver. And I don't think he's just that one-trick pony right now. I think he can do more, but still a lot more to develop there. UGA Bronco has a massive rant, and I'm just going to get to his first question. He says, what the heck was that? I have so many questions about the absolute joke that seems to be the coaching of this team. Why do you not challenge the Cortland Sutton quote-unquote incompletion early in the game?
Yeah, I don't know why you didn't challenge that too. I was screaming at the TV or in the bar. Like, it was definitely a catch. And I mean, in this point in the season, I think you're trying to do everything you can to get down the field. So if it looked close, I felt like we should have challenged it. And it turns out it would have been a good catch and probably help Cortland out throughout the day to not feel like he had to press for extra yards and everything that happened after that. So I think we should have challenged it.
Yeah.
Sean was asked about it, and he said he was something like, we had enough angles of it.
We think it was clear cut.
The angles
We
had
saw,
on TV, which I think they'd have the same, if not more, showed a catch to me. And I agree. At that point in the game, it was still early, but I do it too.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of get not wanting to burn your challenge early or one of your challenges early. At the same time, though, the way that Miami just flew down the field on that first drive, or I guess it was just the third play. So it wasn't
flying.
The way Tyreek flew down the field. Like, you just kind of got the feeling that this was going to be one of those games, or at least I thought so. Like, you don't want to put that defense right back out there. Give it a chance. Like, see if you can take advantage of that. I think that's the worst mistake that Sean has made this season. In season, like, you can debate the Vance Joseph stuff and all that, but in season, I think that's pretty clearly the one.
2 more. C. Phillips 72 says, is 53 Mims the new 53 Janos? Mims is a single bright spot in a rapidly deteriorating season. My expectations were not super high, just 9-8 in a winning season at last. Now, even my natural optimism has wilted in the heat of the Miami visitors' sideline. What a mess. Hope your Chicago trip is as fun as you all had in London last year. Safe travels, all the best, Christopher.
Do you remember the 22 Janos from Brock Olivo?
Nope.
No, okay. It was when so Brock Olivo, obviously special teams coordinator. It was one of those days he was talking to the media and somebody asked him about Janos. He said like, if we had 22 Janos on this team, we'd be all right. And so that took off and became a thing where if you just have 22 Janos, that's all that's on the field. You're going to be just fine. But I think it's kind of interesting to say like, who would you want? Like if you had to play the same player at every position, offense and defense on this team, like Surtain, just because he's the athlete.
Yeah. Hands down. He could play corner for us, running back.
Yeah.
Can he
Wide
play line
receiver.
though?
Probably as good as our line. No,
It's true. Touche.
I mean, like Randy has like the side, like has some speed. Like he at least has a little more versatility. Like you'd do better in the trenches. Probably is just Pat.
Up on and either loved or didn't love, and see if Todd's heard of them.
Yeah.
Because there's some ones.
Because you
I'm
were
with
there
it.
with Olivo, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I figured. But that's one of those things. It says at the press conference. I wouldn't have been surprised if that goes around the locker room at some point, though. Like, Brock just said we need 22 Janos. Like, we just need Andy Janovich at every position would be good.
Todd was
But
around
he was
for
Jano was a dog, so I don't know if we heard it, we probably wouldn't have even felt like
makes sense.
No way around it.
He's right.
Yeah.
Todd was
Von
around
Miller,
for
give
a
me
lot of
Jano.
special teams coordinators.
Yeah. Good.
That was a crazy stretch.
And last one coming in from our guy. He says, where is the hype for the Chicago DNVR trip? I'm coming from the Pentagon and meeting my father from Seattle, and I've been looking forward to meeting the extended DNVR fam. With how this season has started, we can all use a few drinks and good vibes to jumpstart the team to better times ahead. All you can do is win the next game, and that all starts this weekend. Are we doing any link-ups? Are you doing a show from there? I was excited hearing RK talk about the amazing food he was going to show everyone. Now it feels like RK left us for a prettier date named Prime. Let's go show our lifetime pride in orange and blue and have a great weekend in Chicago. And if we have to suffer, let's suffer together. So we will be in Chicago, and we're going to meet up at the tailgate. I believe the tailgate starts at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. tailgate with a noon game in Chicago. So we'll be there. And like I said, I think 60 or 70 Broncos fans are going to be at that tailgate. I think like 50 Bears fans are going to be there. Maybe the number's grown since I heard last week as well. So we will definitely meet you there, and make sure to come up and say hi to us when we're there. And
I won't be there.
Yeah.
I got booted. I wanted to be there. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
It was
Wasn't enough room on the bus.
It was a decision made above our heads, Todd. I'm sorry.
Wow.
We're gonna be there. So Henry and I land at midnight Sunday morning.
Dang.
And we get to our hotel probably around 1:30. Like I said, we got to be at the tailgate at 8 a.m. And then our flight leaves at 8 p.m. So we're there for, what is that? 20 hours. 20 hours in Chicago. You still want to go, Todd?
Nah, I'm okay. I'll do the show from the bar.
Dre picked out the hotel. And I think just straight up lied to us about like a bunch of the facts about it. The new information makes it sound like it's actually like not in a great place and definitely not walking distance to the stadium.
Oh, it's not walking distance.
No, before he was like, yeah, it's like a mile from the stadium.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, yeah, 1.2 miles. I was like, well, that grew. And then all of a sudden it's like a couple miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hotel hasn't moved.
I mean, based on the hotel, it seems like it's capable of moving. It's yeah.
So wish us luck, Todd. I hope to be chiming in from the tailgate when you guys, from the tailgate when you guys do the countdown.
Yep.
Hopefully you get a call in from me. And hopefully
sure.
Henry and I show up at the tailgate. But it's going to be fun. And speaking of RK, he hasn't been around for a while. But stay tuned. Might be back tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it's supposed to be my morning off. We'll see.
We will see. So stay tuned. We're going to be giving our picks out. Are the Broncos going to be the worst team in the NFL come Sunday? We'll tell you that tomorrow on the podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Todd, Henry, it's been a blast. We'll see you tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos Podcast.